Hi, in today's video, we're going to be covering some territory that maybe isn't the most exciting to website builders, but it's maybe some territory and some ground that you need to have some kind of knowledge of so that you can do some special things to your site after you've become more experienced. So I want to take this at a basic level and then give you some resources that you can use to go to build on with your knowledge and your skill level to increase what you're doing with your site so it becomes more professional looking for you. So that's today's subject. We're going to be talking about CSS coding, which is an expansion of HTML. Okay, so as I promised, the first resource I'm going to give you, there'll be a link down below the description for this site called w3schools.com. It's a very good site. It has a lot of tutorials that have to do with HTML and CSS. Now, what am I talking about? I'm going to go to one of my sites and we're going to talk about HTML and CSS. You can see they have tutorials here for you to learn, and they've got all kinds of categories right here. You can click on any of these, whether it be HTML, CSS, and you can come down through here and see all the types of things that coding can do, and they give you examples that you can try on your site. This is an excellent resource for you to use, to learn to use. So go there, take some time, play around with this, check, and you get a better idea of the types of things. Now, what I want to do is we're going to look specifically at a few things that I wanted to point out that have to do with CSS expanding HTML on your site. So what exactly am I talking about? Well, you can build your website through two different things, probably a WordPress editor, or you can just code out the whole site without WordPress, or you can use a page builder like this. This is a page builder. As you see, I click on these. These are all units. These are elements that are added as you're building your site. Let's see if I can get this to come on. Okay, here's elements. And I've covered this in other videos on our channel. But what you want to do is you go, this is a post that's been published, and you can go to the page builder right here, which is what I just showed you. Or you can use the WordPress editor, which I did for about 5 years, 6 years before I learned to use the page builder. And then the coding I'm talking about isn't just this. You've got here in WordPress, they make it easy for you. You have the visual and you have the text. Now the text, this is all the coding. This is HTML. I really don't have much of any CSS coding on here. But what I do is if I do have CSS, then I will be showing you where you can add it to your site, on your site. No matter what type of site you have using WordPress, whether it be a Genesis site, a Genesis child site, or a WordPress site, WordPress theme site that they provide free themes for you. I will be showing you in a minute how to add that to your site. The other thing is CSS, as we look at it in details in a minute, will be taking up some of the things like I've talked earlier in other videos about TinyMCE. Now TinyMCE is a toolbar. That's this right here, come across. Now it's more clearly looked at. This is font families. This is text size, this is headers, that kind of thing. And there's different things you can click and it'll tell you what these are across. And there's advancements down here. You can go to this here and add things, take things away. But that toolbar only can do certain things for you. CSS can add to that, and it can embellish, enhance, make things look better for you. Okay, so with CSS code, you're using a WordPress site, so you need to know where to go to apply the CSS code on your website. So I'm going to show you two examples from two sites. This site used Thrive themes. It's also using a Genesis baby site. We're going to go first to appearance. Usually look at appearance and go to customize. And then that'll create this situation here for you. And what you want is you want to click on the additional CSS code. And then what they do is they talk about CSS code if you don't know about it. But right here, this space here is where you'll put your CSS code. Now I've got an example of some CSS code from a guy that I worked with, and he wrote me some code for some things. Now CSS code looks like this here. And what this is going to do, this code will allow some boxes to be built on your site. And code, but this is where this is going to be put in as a paste item. But the code itself, once applied, will be put in this area here. Now let's go back to this here, and we'll copy this. We'll put this in here, we'll paste this in here. Now this whole code here will create a situation on my site for setting up boxes on pages. So I'm not going to publish this, I'm just going to X out of this. The other one is that you can go to a site, another site, and what I did was I went into the area here for themes, and what I did was I made the 23 customize theme is active on my site at the moment. Now all we're going to do here then is right here, you see a drop down here, it says customize CSS. So you click on that, and that's going to open a page here where if I want to put that coding in here, I can put that in here and just say save CSS. So that's two uses of, there are usually in the themes or in the customizing of the themes, two places that you can upload or put in CSS onto your site. Now, if you've watched any of my quick tip videos, you know that you can do a lot of things with your WordPress site by adding plugins. Now, you don't want to have a lot of extra plugins because it could bloat your site and slow it down. But you can add CSS using a plugin. Now, what I did was I found this plugin on site right here. I did a search online, add CSS code using a plugin in WordPress, and it comes up this one here. That's this one here. So I looked at it, said, well, it's got 500,000 active installations, and it's been updated only 5 days ago, so let's go with it. So I downloaded it, and it's right here. Simple custom CSS and JS, which is JavaScript. So right here, I want to go to this right here along the side. It says add custom CSS code. So we clicked on it, and then here it is. You can add any code you want in here and publish it to your site, and it serves the same purpose as what we just talked about, going into customization of your theme. So that's another way you can add CSS code to your WordPress site. Okay, one thing I wanted to cover with you was that in the back end on your hosting site, if you go into public HTML, go to WordPress content, go to your theme. Once you've clicked on your theme, click on that, and every site has a theme, has what they call a style CSS sheet. I'm just going to show you what this looks like. This is a sheet that controls what your site looks like. Okay, this right here has all the coding done for you that the people that developed the theme created for you. What you're doing when you add CSS to your site, by the way, I showed you on the couple of sections just before this, you're just adding to this style sheet through a plugin or through code on your page, whatever. I just wanted to show you this is all part of the WordPress theme that you are using on your site now already. It's just adding to this. The thing you don't want to do is you don't ever want to go in here unless you're really good at code. You don't want to change anything on the CSS style sheet. Okay, I want to give you a specific example. 4 or 5 years ago, I worked for a plugin developer. He was teaching me about HTML and CSS coding. We were working on sites together. He gave me code to create things. Now, CSS coding can do special things for you. This is a post I created, and I worked with him, and he said, well, I'll set you up some coding for this right here. A couple special boxes that would be at the bottom of my post. This right here is created with CSS coding. Now the CSS coding for this whole box looks like this. He developed this for me. I used it on the site. I used it on several sites because I can change things out, change article directions, content. There's like 4 things in here I can change. But this is CSS coding. And this whole thing here can be put at the bottom of the page. It would be CSS coding will be put down here at the bottom as a style sheet addition. As you can see in the last video, I showed you how to add the style sheet. So if you add it to it, then it can add and make this page look more professional, with even helping them to link to a couple other posts on my site. So that's one example of what you can do with CSS coding. We're going to look at, I've got a list of some things we'll go over next. What we look at of things on a site that CSS coding can cover for you. Okay, at this point we want to take a detailed look at what CSS provides for you that maybe a plugin or other tools from a page builder can provide for you. So number one is it changes the browser text size. You can change the text size. Now there's certain sizes that the plugin will provide, but this can provide any types of size. Okay, so the next thing is text weight. That's like if you embolden by using a strong HTML, or you hit the B on your plugin tool, you can have text weights that you can add to make it lighter or brighter. Usually probably would want to make it brighter. That can be used in conjunction with HTML tags to make an emboldened text right here that you want to make differentiations between types of text on pages or posts that you're publishing. The next point is you can add font families using CSS code. And there are only certain font families that are included in a plugin like TinyMCE. So you can add other type of font families by using CSS code. The next thing is you can change the font color. Now there's a tool in TinyMCE plugin that you can change font colors, but you can also do it through CSS code, and you can have it be specific areas. You can be very specific where you want the font colors, not specifically largely covering a post or a page, but you can, certain areas you can make it, you can do that with a plugin, but this again is another way to do it. And I'll leave this link down in the description. There's a color picker that you can use by going to this site. They'll give you color codes you can include in your CSS code. Second, the next thing is the element size. And this is any kind of element that you're putting on your page, whether it be a box, a square, a page, a divider for a page, an image between an image and a box. We're presenting a whatever, element size can be controlled through CSS as well. Also then element padding and margins, both inside and outside the area of the element can be controlled through CSS. And then you can change the borders or set up borders on different elements. You can have borders such as dotted borders, dashed borders, solid borders, double lined borders, grooved borders, inset borders, outset borders, ridge borders. You can set up any kind of border that you want for areas on your site. So that's some of the areas of suggesting the flexibility that CSS coding will provide for you. So that's it for our video on CSS. I wanted to use it as an introduction to kind of give you a guide for what CSS is and how that works with HTML, how you can apply it to your sites. We covered that. What the coding looks like, we covered that. I hope you did get something from this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Also tap that bell icon so you get notified every time I publish a new video to our channel, Digital High Road. That's it for today's video. We appreciate you watching. Take care. God bless.